I certainly wasn't early.
That's not late.
There you go.
All right, I'd like to welcome everybody to the March 14th Public Safety Committee meeting 2023. We are meeting remotely. With us today, we have Councilman Vince Polizzi, Councilwoman Bonnie Katz, members, myself, John Mackey, we're the Public Safety Committee, Janice Frank, our City Clerk, Chris Black, City IT Guru, and Fire Chief Sam Ungst. We have one item on the agenda today, and that is a resolution authorizing changes to the Fire Civil Service rules and regulations. Chief Ungst, I will turn it over to you.
There we go. Sorry about that. Good afternoon. Good morning. We just wanted to make a couple of changes on the civil service rules and regulations. And that is mainly with the physical agility portion of the test. Section 2-6.4, we're adding a run to the test. And the way it reads is the candidate must be able to run a distance of 1 mile within an allotted 10-minute time set. The mile run portion of the physical agility exam shall be a pass or fail. Pretty much everything with the exception of the written test and the scoring of the interview are pass or fail. The only other real change, I believe, is promotional examination material for the promotional examination material for it is 2 seconds here. Sorry, 364. Okay, so the examination material shall be based on the Bureau of Fire rules, regulations, and guidelines, the standard operating procedures and standard operating guidelines, 2 specified books for each of the testing purposes for inspector, lieutenant, platoon chief, whatever books that are required reading. We can pick 2 of those books, and of those 2, a maximum of 2 specified chapters per book, which consist of certified material for the certain position. Qualifications will not exceed the level of training per said position. That's pretty much the only changes at this time.
All right, I will open it up to members of the Public Safety Committee. Anybody have any questions, comments? Mr. Polizzi.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mackey. Chief, I saw there's a firefighter combat challenge.
Yes.
I'm sorry. All I think of is like the old American gladiators with the headgear, and you're on the pylon with the big giant Q-tip looking things.
Absolutely.
What is the combat challenge?
So the combat challenge is something that they came up with. It was actually a competition, and it was what they used to perform the test a few years after I started. But it is the first step is you pick up a high-rise pack, which is 1 3/4 inches. I think it's 100 feet of 1 3/4 inch line. You go up 4 flights of stairs. Drop it, then hoist a ruled section of 2.5 from an outside window, and hand over hand, you bring it up through the window, drop it, go back down the steps. You go outside. We have what's called a Kaiser machine. And what that is, it's a heavy sled. I think it's 350 pounds, or that might be 150. I don't remember, but you use a maul. and you drive that back, I think it's 3 feet. Excuse me. Once you accomplish that, then you do a little walk. You go over, you drag a 1 3/4 line, charged hose line, 75 feet, you show water. Then you go over and you do the dummy drag. The dummy drag is, I believe it's a 180-pound dummy that you pick up, and you have to drag it 100 feet. And once you cross the line, you're good to go.
Wow. You know, that
Quite
sounds
taxing.
extremely physically, yeah, very taxing. Oh, bravo to our firefighters that they can do all that in the allotted time.
And they
I
also
don't
do
think I
that
could.
with, you know, for this testing, the last test that we gave, I believe the last two, they do that with a 50-pound vest on, weighted vest.
They go and do all of the activities you just went through while also wearing a 50-pound vest.
Correct.
Wow. Okay. Wow. All right. Yeah. That's the only question I really had. Thank you very much for the insights on what exactly this is, and I appreciate it. I think it gives us all a new reinvigorated admiration for what our firefighters have to go through. So, thanks, Chief.
You bet.
Mr. Mackey, I have no more questions.
I have a question, John. Chief,
Yes.
if firefighter does not pass the test, are they given a second chance?
No.
So if you don't pass any of these tests, then you're out?
Correct.
How often does that happen?
We usually we weed out about, I don't know, anywhere between 30 and 50% maybe, with not just that test, but with the ladder climb, the swim. You know, right now there's 3, but if this goes through, we'll also include the run. So if you fail any portion of that testing procedure, you're done.
And how often are these tests done?
Every 2 years.
Every 2 years.
Yes,
That's a lot of pressure to keep in shape. It really is. I mean,
it is.
you constantly have to do physical challenges during the whole 2-year period constantly. Well, it's also for their safety also.
Exactly, because the test is based around performances that they will have to do while they're on the job.
And just for the fun of it, the challenge that you discussed with Vince, don't they do these challenges with other fire departments to see who's better? I think I've seen this on TV.
Yeah, they do actually. They have, I mean, it's broken down into age brackets. We have a guy, we don't, but a friend of ours who was originally from Washington Township. He is a firefighter in Goose Creek, South Carolina, and he was on their team. So I'm not exactly sure how he did. He's a few years older than I am, but he's in really good shape. Then one of the girls that I was in the Air Force with, she was on the national team that went around all over. I mean, it's worldwide pretty much now. So, but she's been on ESPN, interviewed, and all that. It was pretty cool.
Well, to watch this on TV, what they do is, just pulling those hoses at times has been, that you would think that would be easy until you see them actually doing that, along with the other things that they have to do. So yeah, we have to praise our fire department, because this is not easy to do this all the time. It really isn't.
Right.
And we should be proud. We should be proud of our fire department.
Very much so. We've got a
That's
lot.
all the questions. That's all the questions I have.
Thank you.
Chief, just a couple things, just a real quick point of clarification. These tests are not only for potential new hires, but did you say everybody on our fire department has to do this once every 2 years?
No. That's just, we give the examination to come on. The entry level examination, we give every 2 years.
I got you. Okay, I just want to clarify that.
Yeah.
I am just curious, maybe what was the thought process behind adding a mile run to this test? I would be curious to know under what circumstances a firefighter might have to run a mile.
Sure.
And then and looking at this combat test, you have to do all 5 of those tasks in 7 minutes, but
Yes.
and again, I'm not saying I disagree with adding a mile run, but having done all of those 5 things in under 7 minutes, do you not feel like that's enough of a demonstration of a firefighter's ability without having them run a mile? And how far in between the combat challenge and the mile run do they have to rest, or how, do these happen back to back, or these are all just things that are kind of going through my head?
Sure. So I'm not exactly sure how we laid it out. Chief Keith, you jump in on that? Sure. Chief Keith, everybody.
Hi. So by adding the mile run, there's a requirement at the fire academy that they have to run a mile and a half.
Okay.
And it seems to be the most problem we have with the guys down there almost failing out of the run. So we're trying to figure out an endurance issue that they are capable of meeting the fire academy standards. So it cost us a lot of money if they fail out. So we're just trying to send somebody that can actually pass the academy.
Okay. Well, that makes a lot of sense then.
And
Okay.
It actually cost us, last year we had a candidate fail out down at the academy, and we had already had close to $20,000 invested in him. So, we're trying to prevent that.
Well, I think that's a great reason then to add this in. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me now. Yeah.
Yeah, and the time difference between when they do the combat challenge and the run, I forget exactly if we decided to do that on 2 different dates.
no, they're gonna do the same day, but they're gonna do all the run and the swimming in the morning, and then give them a lunchtime break,
Okay.
time to rest before they do the combat challenge later on in the afternoon.
Right. Okay. Well, no, that's great. I appreciate the clarification. That definitely makes sense now.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is all I have on this item. Again, these are all just for discussion. We make no recommendations, positive or negative. That would take us, unless anybody else has anything, we'll move on to agenda item 2, which is any related items.
I did want to mention that Chief Keith and I will be up at Pelraz with other members of the city. So we'll be doing this via Zoom, if that's okay, Chris Black. He's not paying attention.
I can't see
Yes,
why.
I am. I'm paying attention. I just need a time and date, man. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think, Chief, if either you or Keith are able to get on the Zoom for Thursday night, I think Vince, Bonnie, and I can sum this up pretty well. This is clearly something that needs to be added, especially with the information you just gave us about, the fire academy. So, at any rate,
Yeah, we met with the Civil Service Board and the union, and we all came to an agreement on this test.
okay,
So,
great. Okay, well, if that's.
I just have to say, John and Chief, thank you for clarifying the 2 years, every 2 years. I was under the assumption that this had to be done with all the firefighters every 2 years.
No, just the new hires.
I misinterpreted it. Thank you for clarifying that.
Right. So we did, just to clarify a little further, we did used to have to do that every year. But it became monotonous, and we actually had a guy in full turnout gear, breathing air. He would take a step, take a breath, take a step, take a breath through the whole process, just to prove that it's not doing any, it wasn't beneficial for our needs, for our health. And that's what they were trying to do, is trying to keep our fitness levels up. And it really wasn't, it's a good test, but it's not a good measure to keep our fitness levels up. So they ended up dropping that test. So
Thank you, Chief.
you bet.
All right. So we will move on to item 2, any related items.
I don't have anything.
Vince?
Wait, yes, I do too.
Okay, hold on a second. Bonnie?
I'm sorry. The memorandum that came down with the summary of types of calls and everything, Chief,
Yes.
it seems like there's extensive more problems at this point. It seems like there's more, or am I just assuming that? Because up to date, there's 476 calls.
Yes, we're actually I just was looking at some numbers, and I think we're at 529 right now. So between March 6th and today, we've gone up 25 and 28 would be 53 calls since March 6th.
And it seems like the medical has gone up tremendously.
Yeah, that's actually a fair representation. We generally go on quite a few more medical calls than we do other calls. So what you're looking at, the way Renee laid that out was, she didn't do a comparison from the year before, because this was the first one that we did. I know, Ms. Katz, you had requested this, I think it was August of last year. You had said something to me about it.
Right. Mhm.
So we want to try to do this, perpetuate it, but so what we did right now for this one, since it's the first, is show you that in January we had, excuse me, we had 247 calls, and then in February we had 229 for a total of 476.
I think this is what it shows the public, how hard our fire department works. I mean, that's a lot of calls. It really is. And, it's commendable what our fire department is able to accomplish. And that's all I wanted to say with this when I looked at the numbers. And they don't, like I said, it doesn't seem to decrease, it increases yearly.
Right. So in just over the last 2 months, so January and February, we've gone on 30, we've given mutual aid to 30 30 fire departments. Try that again. We've been called out of the city 30 times. Now that is 25 times for Old Lycoming Township, in which we have the paid engine up there, our two
Right.
guys. So 25 of those calls are in Old Lycoming Township. But 5 times we've been called, we've been called once to Loyalsock, twice to McCoursville, once to South Williamsport, and once to the Boys Town. Now that's all, again, that's only January and February.
Well, the
So-
good thing is we help them
Those
out, but
numbers
they
are
also
really climbing.
reciprocate. They come and help us also, don't they?
Yes, they do.
That's all. I just wanted to point out what a great fire department we have, John.
Appreciate it.
All right. I would also agree with that. So
Thank you.
if anybody, if nobody else has anything, I will take a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
That would be me. Okay. Hey, safe travels down to your the training. You're one of the training facilities.